Well, thank you all for coming out. Obviously, this is an exciting day for the University of Miami football program and our coaching staff. It's a culmination of basically 5 or 6 weeks of intense recruiting to get to this point, and I feel like we've accomplished our specific targets, namely to make sure we secure a kicker and a punter that can compete in the coming year, specifically on defense, to make sure that we have linebacker depth that can come in and compete for jobs, corners, defensive linemen, and obviously wide receiver depth that we most certainly needed. It's a heavy defensive class. If anything, that should give you an indication of my evaluation of our offense relative to our defense right now. And obviously, with one offensive lineman in this class, should give you an indication that I'm very pleased with our not only our production but the direction of our offensive line. We didn't sign but one offensive lineman, and we didn't sign any tight ends. So most of our emphasis was on the defensive side. I would like to thank the President Shalala, Kirby Hokot, all of the athletic administration, our staff, our coaches, and all the support staff, all the deans and professors on campus that did an incredible job assisting us, and all the students in work studies. We couldn't have done it without you. And again, it was a hectic time for everybody from where we started on December 13th with 3 commitments. And I think we were ranked 85th in the country at the time, to come nearly 50 spaces in a short period of time with only 15 days that I could go out is something that we're proud of, and it should be a precursor for what we intend to do at the University of Miami moving forward. So with that, I will open it up to questions, and be happy to entertain any questions that you have.
Now, talk a little bit about what that was like. You know, recruiting today is a year-round process. Everybody had a year head start on you. Well, what was that like trying to do it in 20 days?
Yeah, it was hard. I think the thing that the staff and I became maybe a little bit frustrated at the end was how many kids said, A, this was either their dream school, or B, either committed to us down the stretch or gave us a real strong indication that they just loved it, but they just didn't know us. So that was a little bit frustrating, and that will never happen again here at the University of Miami. Our staff will not let it. For that, we apologize, to be quite honest. We apologize to all the high schools in South Florida, and we will make sure that we make that connection now moving forward. As I've already entertained calls from the 2012 class today. We're going to move forward and develop those relationships and repair the ones that weren't as strong as they needed to be. But that was frustrating because it is a great brand, and it is so much to offer young people that many of them you can see felt compelled to come, but there was no relationship in the end. For example, many of the kids that came on the last 2 official visit weekends, the first time I met them was when they came on an official visit weekend, and that's tough doing business that way.
Coach, can you talk about Gianni Paul and which assistant was most involved in his recruitment and what you liked about him?
Again, for us, it's always about staff recruiting, but certainly Coach D'Onofrio and Michael Barrow, but there was a lot of people involved there. And Gianni Paul, to me, personifies, along with Chicolo, along with some of the other young people in this class, personifies what we're looking for. Smart, tough, he's disciplined, he plays with energy, he's relentless, he's got a motor. So we're so fortunate to have Gianni in this class, and again, we're appreciative of the young people that have really shown faith in us in such a short period of time, and that's why we'll be linked forever as our first recruiting class. Gianni's a big part of that.
Coach, that strikes me that most coaches, or a lot of coaches that I've listened, kind of downplay the value of the recruiting services rankings. You just kind of maybe have taken a little bit different approach there.
Yeah, I don't really get into the rankings other than someone told me, Coach, did you realize, because for us, it's 33. If it's 33 or whatever it is, it's not good enough. It's not good enough. So we're going to continue to move forward. But someone indicated that we had come up 50 spots. That's the only reason I reference it. But again, for us, it's not about the rankings, but other than just to give you some measurable of how far we came in a 5-week period. That's the only reason I reference it.
Did you feel when you came in that, I mean, 8 Faith is a pretty dire situation, whether it's accurate, but did you feel that it was pretty dire when you first started, when you took over?
Well, yeah, I mean, if you take over a job and nobody's scheduled for an official visit, that's quite alarming. You know, there's nobody scheduled in the month of January at all for an official visit, and we basically, I was out. I took the job on a Monday, was processed on Tuesday, was out Wednesday and Thursday, came back Friday for an official visit weekend. We had 5 kids in, and then we went dead for 2 weeks. All right, then we were back out for basically 3 days, and then we went dead again. And during those 3 days, most of the players that we were recruiting happened to be at one of the 2 All-Star games. So as much as you want to recruit the level of a Miami athlete, most of those Miami athletes were either in Orlando and San Antonio and off limits. So all said and done, I'm excited about this group because there's something to be said for guys that want to be Miami Hurricanes. And we had 8 kids that flipped. Imagine where we'd be if 8 kids didn't flip and join the Miami Hurricanes. So then we also had other guys like Anthony Chickalo, just exactly what we're looking for. You want to know what we're looking for? Look at Anthony Chickalo. Tough, energy, just a football player, moxie, leadership, weight room guy, all those things that some people call intangible, we think are very tangible, and they have a say in how we make our team.
Al, what's your level of personal satisfaction today as compared to past signing days in your life? And that, you know, the cards were clearly, you know, stacked against you here, yet at the same time, you know, you did make some inroads. But I know you feel like you never do enough. Do you sort of compare this to past years?
Well, for us, it's, you're right. I mean, I think the coaches feel the same way. We love the expectation to do what we did in a short period of time, but we're all sitting there, want it more, and we also know we're not done. We're still recruiting. This class is not complete, so we know with 1 or 2 more of the right guys here that it could finish off in an incredibly high note. But irrespective of that, you have to understand whether it's the graduate assistants, the operations, the coaches, the administrative staff, just an incredible job to pull this off in really what was 2 official visit weekends when no students are around, and 2 when the students were around. And again, my hat goes off to those guys because I'm really grateful to have them on the staff.
Can you quantify how much of this job is player development and how much is recruiting? I mean, we've seen the teams, Boise State, CCU, that aren't high recruiting classes, and they have good seasons. Is recruiting 60%, 80%? And where does player development fall?
Well, it's always the acquisition and development of talent. I mean, you just said it. So you can't win without talent. Okay, but you also have to have a plan in place, for which you develop talent, and I think we have that, and we'll continue to do that. We've had a great response already in 3 short weeks with our current student athletes. They know it's different. They've embraced the change, and they've really responded. And I know I speak for all the staff when we just can't wait to be around them, be in the office, because there is talent on campus. And what this group coming in is going to do, it's going to be a blue-collar unit. It's going to be a group that's going to come in and challenge for jobs in certain areas. It's going to raise the intensity and the performance and the execution of the guys that are in place. And then obviously they're going to have a chance to compete. So this is going to be an interesting spring for us. And then certainly as these kids start to come aboard, it will make for great competition and improve our team.
Now, back there, you mentioned in your opening statement already calls for next year's class. If someone was going to rank you as a recruiter for UN, seeing you sort of started behind the 8 ball, would next year's class be your first true measuring stick of how you do?
You can measure me right now. You can measure me right now. Measure me today, measure me next week, measure me next year, measure me 4 or 5 years from now. All right, because we're here to only do it one way. And if you could have seen the energy that everybody in this building put forth, all right, to get this class. Again, I'm talking about turning 8 kids, flipping 8 kids. There's a lot of schools that can't do that in 3 or 4 years. We flipped 8 kids in basically from January 2nd on because there was nobody that flipped early in the month. So That's something that I'm not afraid of. You have to be the judge of how you think we did, but I am grateful for what the coaches did in a short period of time.
Was there a common thread in how you looked at them?
Was there a common thread?
Yeah, you're them. I mean, what was the deciding factor? These kids saying, "Oh, I'm going elsewhere now. I'm going to UN."
Again, I'm going to go back to long before I got here. An incredible tradition, okay, from a football standpoint, whether it's players in the NFL, national championships, whatever the case may be, bowl games, BCS bowl games, national award winners, and you couple that with an incredible Coral Gables campus, international city, world-class city right next door, okay? And just let me finish my point here. #1 institution in the state of Florida, top 50 institution in the country. The difference is that they had, they reacted to our core values, they reacted to our people, they reacted to the way they were recruited. That was the difference.
How did that happen? Because a couple of those kids are local kids. They've known about the program. They've known about the history. And a couple of kids said, yeah, they were late getting to us, but we were glad to go. A couple of kids we spoke to today.
Again, and again, it has nothing to do with the previous staff. It just has to do with a transition year is tough on a lot of people. It's not just tough on the coaches and the current players. It's tough on recruits. And a lot of kids just got lost in the shuffle. And as you guys know, what precedes the transition is, it's like a tidal wave. What precedes it is the drawback. And that's kind of what it was. They could sense that something was happening to that staff and the previous coach. And a lot of them either pulled back on both sides, the coaches and the prospects. So when we kind of reignited that relationship, I think a lot of them were very excited about that.
How much were you blown away from the talent of some of those kids when you saw them? You're like, wow, we want to recruit this kid. You know what I mean? And you think to yourself, why not?
I'm very excited about the talent of some of those kids.
Coach, because you came in late, how much of it, I'm assuming you had to do a lot of the determination on players from tape as opposed to you and your staff seeing them in person? And if so, how much harder is that to make a determination whether you want to offer guys just seeing them on tape?
Correct. It's a little bit harder, and that's why we proceeded with so much caution early on. And again, I think I've said this to you the first week in January. It's not so much the ones that you don't get. It's making sure that you get the right ones. I really believe that. You don't want to be sitting there on August 8th saying, hey, does anybody know why we recruited this kid? Was it because he was offered by 8 other schools? Does anybody know where he fits in our system or why we recruited him? So again, it goes to all the staff here that really took their time and evaluated. And to be honest with you, we probably had slots for a couple of more kids, but we just didn't, A, get into the herd effect, and B, we didn't want to drop down. We didn't want to lower our expectations, so we stayed at a high level and wanted to battle it out at that level.
Because ordinarily you would see every kid you sign, you personally, like once you're here and established, would that be fair?
Yeah,
to say?
you would, you mean me personally?
Yeah.
Yeah, certainly me personally, but I'm used to seeing kids in camp. I'm used to seeing kids play basketball. I'm used to seeing them, move and do those types of things. And our last 4 years at Temple, 78% of the kids that we signed attended the camp. So obviously you have a chance to evaluate that in the camp. So there's nothing like seeing a student athlete live. There's nothing that compares to it. But if you can take that plus the academic transcript plus the film and then the intangibles, then you have a chance to mitigate risk.
What was the moment like for you when you realized that Grimble was, after so much buzz nationally, had settled on?
Yeah, Big Jet was doing this to me and saying it was happening. Where is Jet? So, but Jet had a great relationship with that family, and the kid fell in love with the place. And again, if we didn't have the relationship, which happened in a lot of cases, we didn't have a previous relationship, the kid may not be here. But the relationship plus what we offer here at the University of Miami, which I think is just unique, enabled that young man to come. And what a great family. We're so pleased to have Jalen with us.
You talked about staff recruiting, and it seemed like you were adding to your staff as the process was going on. We were here for press conferences, meeting the new coaches week after week. What was that like? You get a new coach in the mix, and now you have to send them out to go recruit kids. What was that process like?
Well, it was difficult, certainly. It was difficult, but we were, again, we were trying to do so many things at once, whether it was establish the organization, evaluate the current players, recruit, set the staff. So we were doing so many things, and again, it's just so much more critical to be patient and get the right staff here. And I can tell you wholeheartedly, we have the right staff. We have an incredible staff. Our operations, to bring back the experience of somebody like Hurley, I see back there, just Hurley Brown, just to give us that kind of experience in our operations staff, in addition to what we already had, and then our GAs and our quality control, all those positions, they all take time to fill, and I think we wanted to just do it the right way. So we were willing to sacrifice a little bit to get it right the first time.
And Coach, can you talk a little bit about the emotions of today for yourself? I mean, was it nerves? Was it just, excitement? What sort of goes through your body on signing day?
Well, I think we were excited. I mean, I think I speak for all the staff. We were excited. I think, there was a moment there where, maybe one or two other kids, and we go over the top, but we were really close. We were in it, and we're still in it with some of those kids because it's not over yet. But I think I speak for all the staff. This has been physically taxing. And not that it's not normally physically taxing, guys, but this has been, get back in town Friday morning, try to see a couple of local schools because we want to repair and build relationships with the local schools. Get over here by noon, have a new official visit starting around noon, end that at noon on Sunday, and then go right back out. Not even have a chance to go home or sleep in your own bed Sunday. And then go out Monday morning. We would go right back out, and we did that for 30 days straight now.
Now, along those lines, when will be your next, or maybe your first day off here in that? You've got obviously staff meetings and spring to hammer out. Like you said, this class is not complete. You're already making calls about 2012. Do you need a break at some
I'm not
point
worried
here
about
before
this.
spring ball?
I'm worried about my wife that's sitting over there. You put me behind the 8 ball right here. I'm going to have to negotiate. But no, I mean, there's going to be time. There's got to be time. Family's important to us. And I think a lot of these coaches, and I know this personally, a lot of these coaches did research on me and what's important to me. What are my core values? And that's why we were able to put this kind of staff together. I think they understand that family is important to us. But I think they also know these next 3 months, it's going to be a little bit catch-up. We already had a junior day. When the official visit weekend ended on Sunday, we had a walk-on day, which we had 35 walk-ons show up. We have another junior day coming on the 13th, another one on the 20th, and then we start spring ball, and we'll have more kids come then. We'll have our camps. So our hope is that we are back to where Miami should be come the end of June or the middle of June. That's what our goal is.